गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट। गना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। वणक्कम, प्रणाम एंड जय हिंद। आज हम बात करने वाले हैं इजराइल पैलेस्टाइन वॉर, और इस चीज के बारे में हमारे साथ चर्चा करने के लिए जनरल शौकीन चौहान है। जनरल शौकीन चौहान, वेलकम टू गना शॉट वंस अगेन। बहुत दिन के बाद आप यू कमिंग हियर एंड इट लुक्स
Thank,
इट फील्स ग्रेट।
thank you very much, sir. My honor completely.
या, so what I'll do is I'll quickly go over a little bit of a background of this war, which has started, and then I would request you to weigh in with all the issues. I'll flash a few issues that we can do, and we can do more also, the way you
Will,
want.
will sir.
Okay, and I would like to tell everyone that General Shaukan Chauhan will leave at 8:40, and after that, any questions and all, I'll take them on. So don't worry. Right. So let's start with this little presentation. Right. Uh, Yesterday, this whole thing started when this report came. Hamas kills 40 in unprecedented, wide-ranging incursion into Israel. Netanyahu says we are at war. Already, we are in the second day of the war. Over 600, 700 Israeli soldiers and civilians have been killed. There's some taken hostage. There's a hostage situation, and over 300 odd Palestinians have been killed as per reports coming in. Various reports give different बताते हैं। पर मेरा ये है कि ये बैकग्राउंड के लिए ना, ये एक बड़ा अच्छा आर्टिकल मैंने देखा था। ये जुलाई का आर्टिकल है इस साल का, जिसमें बोलते हैं कि ईयर ऑफ फाइटिंग बिटवीन इजराइल एंड द पैलेस्टाइनियंस जस्ट एस्केलेटेड, इज दिस एन अपराइजिंग। ये बात ये है, क्यों ये आर्टिकल दिखा रहा हूं, ये जो आज हो रहा है वो नया नहीं है। ये there's a run up to this whole thing. This is a big escalation, but इसका एक बेस है, और एंड दिस बेस हैज बीन बिल्डिंग अप फॉर द पास्ट 1 year. ये क्या बोलता है ये आर्टिकल? वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग। ये बोलता है इट्स अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट विद नो फोर्सिएबल एंड, द पैलेस्टीनियन लीडरशिप इज वीकेंड, and the Israeli government has been accelerating the expansion of settlements that have eroded any chance of Palestinian statehood. See, this is not a biased article. This is of the Western press, so it take care of all this. Now, what does he say? Intifada means shaking off in Arabic, right? To describe an uprising. It was coined against Israel's military occupation in 1987. It ended in 1983, the first Intifada, with an agreement of mutual recognition between Israel and PLO. उस वक्त PLO था headed by Yasser Arafat. The first Intifada was marked by widespread Palestinian protests and a fierce Israeli response. The second Intifada, or the second uprising, began in 2000, in which Palestinian militants carried out deadly suicide bombings on buses and at restaurants and hotels, eliciting crushing Israeli military reprisals. Over 4,000 people died, including vast number of civilians. Roughly 3 times as many Palestinians as Israelis were killed. Now, Israeli crackdowns and frequent Palestinian bombings marked the second Intifada. Widespread participation of Palestinians in the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem was reported. 3 settlement हैं, right? Okay, उसके बारे में आगे बात करेंगे. The protests driven by Palestinian leaders, including President Yasser Arafat, right? The Intifada petered out after Arafat died in 2004, and the current Palestinian president Mahmoud Abbas took power. Okay. अभी महमूद अब्बास के अगेंस्ट तकरीबन हमास खड़ा हो गया है, ये मैं बताना चाहता हूँ। इन 22 a spate of Palestinian attacks, एक साल पहले, prompted Israel to launch near nightly raids into Palestinian areas of the West Bank. The death toll on both sides has risen. Last 1 year has been one of the deadliest in the West Bank. ये West Bank में भी कुछ चल रहा था पिछले 1 साल से, since the second Intifada. The violence has only intensified with Israel's current far-right government. The region has not seen such a sustained cycle of violence since the second Intifada. The last 16 months have showed Israel lacks a long-term vision on how to deal with the Palestinians. The need to start thinking strategically about the Palestinian issue was felt in Israel. Israeli government was seen to be pushing Palestinians towards more extremism and violence. Right? Okay. अगर आप पूरा देखेंगे ये जो कल शुरू हुआ है there's been extreme violence like I said 700 Israelis मारे गए और 250 Palestinians मारे गए इसमें एक बड़ा इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर हुआ the reaction of the Israeli armed forces the bases have been found wanting they've been parading women with religions chanting एक hostage situation है but इस पूरे कहानी में Hamas is working as per a plan right kya they want to force Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Bahrain to stop all talks of normalization with Israel. Will they succeed? ये एक सवाल है. Why did Hamas stage a long-planned, carefully executed, and multifaceted attack on Israeli towns, soldiers, and civilians? One designed to instill terror by executing non-combatant, taking hostages, and desecrating the bodies of the dead. राइट ये है एक बैकग्राउंड जो आज ये जो अभी चल रहा है विद दिस एज अ बैकग्राउंड राइट आई वुड लाइक टू गो बैक to the times of the Second World War and Israel coming into being and all, but we know all of us know ये भाई सबको. So you take it on, General Shaukin Chauhan, and explain all these issues, various factors, and we'll take it on from there and see where it goes. Over to you, Shaukin.
Thank you, sir.
या एक और पॉइंट मैंने मिस कर दिया है वो ये है Hamas has called upon the Hezbollah which is in the north to come into the thing and Hezbollah has responded and there's some action going in the north in the Lebanon border also. So over to you. Sorry for this interruption.
Thank you, sir. दोस्तों, there are three different fronts here. And I'll request General Shankar to show that map. The first front, you see south and west, you'll see what is known as the Gaza Strip. This is a very thin strip of land, just about 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers wide. It is almost 6 kilometers, it's about 15 kilometers long. And it is one of the most densely populated areas on earth. In fact, one of the 10 most densely populated areas on earth. If you go there, like I have, you will see small gullies, small alleyways, small places from there are huge buildings and huge number of hiding places, huge number of people, huge population, all packed into this like sardines into this small strip of land. All around this strip of land, that means from the north, from the east, as well as from the west till the sea, Israel has surrounded this border completely. The border is fenced. It is full of surveillance devices. All communication inside the Gaza Strip is controlled by Israel. That means any kind of communication that people are doing amongst themselves is intercepted by Israel. And I have personally been to this fence. I have been to Gaza. I have been to the Israeli side. I can say that I was extremely impressed by their level of sophistication, their ability to respond, and their ability to see and have eyes inside Gaza Strip. And that is what kept them safe for so many years. But probably this safety also brought in some kind of laxity, because for the for for the people to attack them, Hamas to attack them, to launch 3,000 rockets, to cross the fence in so many places using bulldozers, and using different modes of transport. They used air gliders, they've used boats, small shallow boats, to break into the areas of Israel, into those small settlements that Israel had created all around the Gaza front. And to cross Mayhem meant a lot of planning. Now you must be asking in your mind, who's controlling the Hamas? Where are they getting the money from? Who's funding them? These are legitimate questions, and as Jan Shankar has already given you an idea that the Hamas is also funded by Iran. It could also be the Muslim Brotherhood. There could also be tacit support from Russia. There could also be tacit support from North Korea. There could be support from anywhere. But the issue is, how did the Hamas uh, terrorists get hold of 3,000 rockets? How did they get hold of the multi barrel rocket launchers? How did they get hold of their ability to get through this fence using gliders and without Israel knowing? So, the first issue that Jan Shankar has already mentioned, and I want to tell you, is the issue about intelligence failure. How can a country like Israel fail? For them, intelligence failure is death. And I was so surprised to see that the Hamas has come out of Gaza. Gaza is so densely, protected. And I saw for myself the kind of quick reaction teams they were to intercept any kind of movement, the ability of the Israeli forces to tell anything that is happening, and yet it happened because human ingenuity is human ingenuity. And to hit them again during during a holiday is to take them back to the Yom Kippur War, where they were hit during the holiday season. Why couldn't the Israeli soldiers react? Why couldn't their quick reaction teams react? Why couldn't they fight? And how did they? How could the Hamas break in so easily? And how could they capture 150 to 200 hostages if nobody is very clear about it? How could they kill 400 Israelis? And how is the fighting still going on in so many parts of southern Israel? That is the second issue. That the
And
Israeli
and who
army,
trained Hamas? Who trained Hamas to do this?
exactly, who trained Hamas, who armed them, who gave them motivation, how did they get inside? It will come out when more detailed check is done. But the second issue is, first was intelligence failure. The second issue is, how did the Israeli army, IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, fail to react? And why has it taken so much time? So let me spend 5 minutes on the Israeli army. The Israeli army is about 150 to 250,000 strong. It has a huge reservist force. All soldiers are trained up to 1 to 2 months in a year, with the specialized units training every month, especially the pilots and the commandos. They train every month for 5 to 10 days, and their employers are obliged to allow these soldiers to reach out and to go back to the units to train. But where are the standing army? Where are the people who were supposed to have reacted? The quick reaction team that I had seen hiding in groves, hiding in the jungles, ready to react. They were not there when the Hamas came in. So obviously, during a holiday, there was laxity and there was failure of intelligence. The third issue is, why now? Once again, then Shankar has spoken little about it. Let me try and explain why now. You're aware that over the last 2 years, Israel has been in the world. Israel is finding greater acceptance. Saudi Arabia has recently accepted an Israeli delegation to enter Saudi Arabia. They were talking of trade, and maybe 5 years from now, they were talking of normalization of relations. Who knows? But would the Hamas allow it? Would its proxies in Iran allow it? Would the Hezbollah allow it? These are issues that we have to be clear that by opening up a front, what exactly has the Hamas and its proxies achieved? The first issue that they have achieved is they've brought battle, this battle of Palestine, of Palestine's independence, of the statehood of Palestine, back to center stage. It was disappearing. In fact, I was talking to an Israeli earlier this day today, and he was telling me that the Israelis had more or less changed their strategy in dealing with the Palestine and thinking that they could contain Palestine while they dealt with the larger problem on the north, the Hezbollah, which is in Lebanon. That is entirely to Israel's north. And if I'll request Jan Shankar to show that map
Yeah,
again,
I'll just show that map.
you will see that on the West Bank is almost 10 times larger than the Gaza Strip. This is earlier used to be led by Yasser Arafat of the PLO, and now by his own Lieutenant with Abbas,
Abbas.
who is the head of the PLO. Till now, the West Bank has not exploded. Till now, the West Bank is still holding and has not shown its hand at all. But if it does, this narrow strip of land between the West Bank and the Mediterranean Sea, that is Israel, the state of Israel, could easily be cut off. Now let's go north. You will find the area of Lebanon. Lebanon is controlled by, once again, the proxies. Controlled, yes, there is Lebanon right on top. You can see it is controlled by the Hezbollah. And the Hezbollah are a very, very well known terrorist fighting force. Extremely well trained, extremely well armed. And Hezbollah this morning fired almost 5 to 6 rockets into Israel, but as yet have not shown their hand on carrying out any kind of offensive. So these are the three threats that Israel faces. From Gaza, that threat has already shown its hand. From the West Bank, the PLO has not shown its hand at all as yet. And from the north, the Hezbollah, besides firing a few rockets into Israel in support of the Gaza attack, have not moved further till now. But this is how the Israel will have to fight its battle of the future. Third issue: what does Israel do now? So the first issue that Israel will do, from what I think, is like they've done. They've carried out a huge number of air raids into the Gaza Strip. But will air raids actually make a difference? Besides breaking few buildings or besides killing a few people, is air operations can never be decisive. They will need to carry out a ground attack. If they were to carry out a ground attack, what would the reaction be? You can understand that earlier the IDF used to hesitate to carry out a ground attack. The reason was that they were very hesitant to send in forces because they didn't want a single Israeli to be caught by the Hamas or caught by the Palestinians and tortured or exchanged. The last soldier that was exchanged, who was in the custody of the Hamas, was exchanged for 5,000 Palestinian terrorists who were in Israeli jails. There are about 5,000 more terrorists who are in Israeli jails. And if they have 200 plus hostages, they could be exchanged for a millennium. The one thing that Israel actually lacks are people. They have very few people. They've also got very little space. And they are surrounded on three sides. So it's going to be a difficult battle, very difficult and very long battle ahead because the options are limited. With 200 people plus being taken hostage, how will Israel carry out retaliatory strikes? How will Israel carry out hostage rescue? And inside the Gaza Strip, carrying out hostage rescue is really impossible. Having seen Gaza, having known the denseness of Gaza's population, it will be impossible to find out where these hostages are. Most of them are hidden in tunnels, deep under houses, and it will be impossible to find out where they are. So the ground attack will come, maybe in a couple of hours, maybe in a couple of days, but Israel has to take three things into consideration before launching this ground attack. Does Hamas want them to launch the ground attack? Is Hamas planning something more inside? By launching tanks in densely populated areas, densely populated cities are actually death traps for tanks. As the tanks go in, they have very, very little reaction time from an RPG, just less than a split second before the RPG destroys them from some building or from some house nearby. The second thing is that as they go in, normal people, innocent people will be killed. This will further incense the Islamic world, which might then decide to gang up against Israel. And then Israel will be supported by the US. Russia now is fighting in Ukraine and therefore will support the Hamas attacks because they will oppose the West. And so, in a situation like this, you might just go into a war, a world war, because it is most definite that NATO and the Western powers will come out to support Israel if Israel comes under threat. But does the Islamic world have a choice? I don't think so. If Muslims are being killed in Gaza, there is no question that their population will allow them to keep quiet or to allow Israel to do what it has to do to decapacitate the Hamas leadership. So, all in all, it's a difficult proposition. Israel faces a difficult job. And here I must bring in one issue. When you are faced with these kind of threats, like Israel is, maybe there is a need to have a larger standing army. The issue about reservists being called to mobilize, and though Israel is a very small country and most of the mobilization takes place in hours, it is still the issue about training. A small team, a section in an infantry battalion, consists of 10 people. So if four are reservists, where is their place in that team? Where will they get the time to train? Who will be the scouts? Who will be the weapons group commander? How will they move forward? What will be the tactics to move forward? All these happen when there are infantry units which are trained day in and day out to carry out such operations. But with the reservists, this time it's very difficult, and it takes a long time for them to get that drill set. And I must bring back that what is the lesson for India? The first lesson for India is eternal
May,
vigilance.
may, may I interject 1 minute, Shokin, before we get to the lessons to India? We also have to be cognizant of the fact that Israel, as of now, like you said earlier, is facing only one front. What if the
Absolutely.
second and the third front
Yeah.
start up more than Israel's options? And the point which you made about a standing army or lack of standing army is going to get accentuated. Yeah, sorry for this
So
interjection, but I thought it was a very important point you had made. I wanted to highlight it.
I read about, on X, or what used to be Twitter, a lot of people are trying to compare Kashmir with Israel and the situation there. There is no comparison. Kashmir is our land. We are in. We have. It is our country, and we are protecting it. And we have broken the terrorist backbone in the year 2000 onwards. We have reduced their capability completely, but also we hold the line of control very strongly. So any chance of any people breaking through the line of control is an impossibility. Will they then use motor gliders? Will they then use drones? Will they use the sea? Well, we are prepared for that. But here we must bring in the fact, and I hate to say this, but Jan Shankar and me have spoken about the Agniveers. I must
Mm.
caution our powers, I must caution our decision makers that don't, by 2040 or 2042, the Agniveers will be 75% of our infantry units or all our combat units. That is the time when, if we are attacked, we will have a very difficult time trying to break in the Agniveers in that short 3 years to get them to accept battle drills and battle tactics. So we need to be very careful when we take these decisions. Israel may not have an option because there are no people. But even then, mobilization is a very difficult task. It's not easy. Where are the logistic systems? Where are the weapons? Where is the ammunition? Where is the training? How are they going to be meshed? They'll be launched straight into an attack. Plus, as Jan Shankar said, there are three fronts. Which front opens up besides the Gaza front, which is already opened up? The northern front with Hezbollah opens up, they're in trouble. So when we are two generals, and when we talk about higher strategy, I must tell you what we look at when there are three fronts or two fronts. We look to see which front will bring us success and which front can we close, or what we call have deterrent capability, and the other front we have the ability to destroy. So destruction versus deterrence. There is no way any country in the world can destroy two different fronts. Nobody has that capability. So if Hezbollah was to attack, and Hezbollah is a very large force, much larger than Gaza, Israel would have to move its forces to the north to hold the Hezbollah attack, and at the same time would have to destroy Gaza because they have no option. And if the Palestinians in the West Bank explode, it's a difficult proposition. So, my friends, it's the world is going into a difficult time. We've already had the Russian-Ukraine war. Now, with the Hamas opening up the Gaza front, the Ukraine war is going to go into a back burner. Very soon, you'll find the Russians taking over the Ukrainians and their area because no one is going to support the Ukrainians anymore. They don't have the time. Nobody's had the ability to support different places. Israel becomes a new flashpoint in the world. And we can only pray and hope that the Islamic world sees reason, does not get into a battle which they cannot win, because the Western powers will definitely be on the side of Israel. Over to you, Shankar sir.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I thought you made some great points, uh, and you outlined the whole story, the difficult situation that Israel is in. Now let's look at one thing. We all spoke of the intelligence failure. What is the biggest lesson for us in this? You know, that I thought is something which we have to learn and probably ensure that we don't get into this problem which Israel has got into.
The most important thing is, to my mind, don't depend entirely on technical surveillance. There are intelligence has three parts. It has human intelligence, it has technical intelligence, and it has the ability to, for this intelligence to give you the information in a faster manner. That means not only do you have to get the information, you have to collate and decide what is actually going to happen. The Israelis, the Israeli intelligence had to give, and this is what their job is, that their task is to give Israel government 48 hours of notice of what is going to happen. In this case, they didn't even give them 1 hour or 30 minutes.
They didn't get any.
Sec- Second thing is, where is the human intelligence in the Gaza Strip? When I went from the Israeli side to the Gaza Strip, they were very confident about their surveillance devices. They're very confident about their ability to exactly make out what's going to happen. That obviously has failed. So the most important lesson for us is don't depend on this.
Yeah. And
Eternal vigilance is the price of freedom. There
yes.
has to be professional soldiers, professional intelligence officers who are willing to lay down their life for you to protect you and to give you that extra 1 hour so that you are able to react.
Yeah. Right.
That's a very,
And
very major lesson for India.
very the second point which I want to bring out here is the second aspect, the price which you pay for, your freedom is through vigilance. The Gaza Strip has a wall. You've seen it,
It's a fence, actually. Yeah,
fence,
yeah,
and that fence, the people on that fence were not vigilant.
absolutely.
And if similarly, people on our fence are not vigilant, the LOC, we will have a similar situation, right? So here
Absolutely.
comes the point which I'm trying to make. Every battlefield has a level up to which technology is useful. Beyond that, it is sheer guts, training, and those boots on ground. Israel proved it, Galwan proved it, and XYZ, so many things have proven it. So I'd like you to reinforce this point about the limits which technology can be put to use in a situation like this. Khas karke, the second aspect of this technology, firepower. You can use firepower, you can use tanks, you can use air force, everything. Will it give Israel a political solution against Hamas? These two things I think you need to highlight.
I agree with you, sir. The issue is very clear that are you capable of 24 hours surveillance, 12 months of the year, 7 days of the week? And do you have enough people to help you in case something goes wrong? This is an issue
Mhm.
that we must keep in mind. And Israel has the best surveillance systems in the world.
System.
Absolutely the best systems in the world. And if they failed,
Yeah,
then we can't depend on
yeah,
anybody. So please
yes,
don't let anyone tell you that we can reduce our forces on the border
correct.
or we
तो
can
ये मैं
reduce our strike forces or we can reduce our reserves. You can't.
आई थिंक
Eternal vigilance.
आपने जो बोला है बिल्कुल सही बोला है। कुछ लोग बोल रहे हैं कि हमें हिंदी में बताइए, मैं दोबारा दोहराता हूँ। दुश्मन के ऊपर निगरानी रखने के लिए सिर्फ तकनीकी कार्रवाई से नहीं होगा। हमें आदमी चाहिए, ये 2 आंख चाहिए, ये दिमाग चाहिए और दुश्मन के इलाके में जाके उसके बारे में जानकारी हासिल करने का हमारे पास क्षमता होना चाहिए। हर एक लड़ाई के मैदान में उतना ही टेक्निकल क्षमता इस्तेमाल कर सकते हो, जितना वो लड़ाई में इस्तेमाल किया जा सकता है। उसके बाद जवानों की और जोश की और दिल और जज्बे की जरूरत है कि आप वापस लड़ाई करो। तीसरी बात, ट्रेनिंग की जरूरत है। अच्छा ट्रेनिंग और सही हुई ट्रेनिंग की जरूरत है। अभी जो इजराइल के फोर्सेस में जो रिजर्विस्ट हैं, जो चंद दिनों के लिए काम करके वापस चले जाते हैं, अभी बड़ा क्लियर है कि वो दे वर फाउंड शॉट, वो उतना लायक नहीं हुए
Yeah, they're from training.
हमास के अगेंस्ट, राइट? उसके अगेंस्ट तो ये जो अग्निवीर का जो प्रॉब्लम है, हमें थोड़ा सोच समझ के इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए या लागू करना चाहिए, क्योंकि शौकीन चौहान ने और मैंने दोनों ने बताया कि भाई ये अग्निवीर के रिव्यू जरूरत है, नहीं तो हम एक दिन पछताएंगे, जिस तरीके से आज इसराइल पछता रहा है। नेक्स्ट पॉइंट जो जनरल शौकीन चौहान ने बताया, कास्ट पॉइंट, कि अभी इसराइल एक दुविधा के अंदर है। ये बात अच्छी है कि हम फायर पावर इस्तेमाल करेंगे और आर्टिलरी इस्तेमाल करेंगे, टैंक इस्तेमाल करेंगे, एयरफोर्स इस्तेमाल करेंगे, पर हमास के लीडरशिप को कैसे पकड़ोगे? उसको कैसे पहुंचाओगे? जैसे गाजा ट्रिप है, वो एक जंगल है, कंक्रीट जंगल है, उसके अंदर एक गली में घुस जाओ, ठीक है, और एक चौल की तरह है, आप वापस बाहर नहीं निकल सकते हो, उसके अंदर टैंक लेके नहीं जा सकते हो, टैंक उड़ाए जाएंगे जिस तरीके से हमारे टैंक श्रीलंका में उड़ाए गए, ठीक है ना। तो यहाँ क्या है, हमें आदमी चाहिए, सोल्जर्स चाहिए अंदर जाके पिन पॉइंट करके फायर करके उनको पकड़ने के लिए। क्या इसराइल के पास वो क्षमता है आज के दिन? राइट, ये बहुत सवाल उठ खड़े हैं। और क्या इसराइल, एक मोटा सवाल है, राइट, जिसके बारे में हमने टच नहीं किया, अभी पूरा मिलिट्री के बारे में टच किया है। क्या इसराइल के पास एक पॉलिटिकल सॉल्यूशन है, ये पॉलिटिकल अप्रोच है इसको रिजॉल्व करने के लिए? अगर ये पॉलिटिकल सॉल्यूशन नहीं है तो जितना मर्जी आप खड़ा कर दो फौज, उससे कोई फायदा नहीं होता। और ये जो अभी ये पहले सवाल जो जनरल शौकीन चौहान ने बताया, इसराइल, ये हमास को कौन मदद कर रहा है? क्या ईरान कर रहा है, रशिया कर रहा है, कतार कर रहा है, टर्की कर रहा है, या पाकिस्तान कर रहा है? और हिजबुल्ला भी अगर आ गया तो इसराइल के हाथ में एक बड़ा लड़ाई है। ये सब बड़ा सवाल है। क्या दुनिया वर्ल्ड वॉर 3 में आगे अग्रसर होके जा रहा है? ये सब सवाल हमें देखना है कि आगे जाके क्या होगा। यहाँ तक मेरे ख्याल में हमने पूरा कर दिया। विल टेक अ फ्यू क्वेश्चंस एंड एज व्हेन योर टाइम कम्स जस्ट लीव,
थैंक यू सर।
बिकॉज
इट्स
ये सिर्फ दूसरा दिन है। या इफ इट्स ओवर आई विल टेक ऑन द क्वेश्चंस, डोंट वरी।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर। मैं अभी
या
थोड़ा आई हैव सम अदर
या
वर्क टू डू, बट
या
थैंक यू एंड आई
या
enjoyed being on your show. And any questions, Jan Shankar
आई विल
knows as
टेक इट,
well as
डोंट
me.
वरी।
Over to you,
या
sir. Bye, sir. Bye.
thanks a lot, thanks a lot, and you gave given a fantastic way of putting across the whole thing. So grateful to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, good evening. राइट, तो हम अभी थोड़ा सवाल लेते हैं। मैं आराम से सवाल लूंगा, जो बहुत सवाल हैं मेरे को पता है। ओके, ओके, ये कुछ सवाल हैं कि इतने लोग मारे गए, इतने होस्टेज लिए गए, ये फिगर्स हैं। ये एक चैनल कुछ बताएगा, दूसरा चैनल कुछ बताएगा, उसके बारे में मैं बात नहीं करूंगा। तो मैं, लेट मी सी द क्वेश्चंस। या Pakistan is rumored to have trained Hamas militants, rockets financed and transferred from Iran, North Korea, and also smuggled from Ukraine. सहाय जी, ये हो सकता है, इट्स पॉसिबल। ये अभी कुछ रूल आउट नहीं हो सकता है। तो अभी तो वॉट एवर यू से क्या है, इट्स ओनली स्पेकुलेशन। आगे जाके देखते हैं कि एक्चुअली क्या होगा। राइट, ओके। Jakpreet Batra focused back on Arab-Israel conflict, but Arabs won't be committed as they were earlier. Only Iran and Qatar will openly support. ये देखते हैं, ये it's an evolving situation. Now, if Hezbollah gets in, if West Bank also erupts tomorrow, then Israel will be in a difficult situation. If Israel is in a difficult situation, what further will happen? उसके बाद देखते हैं कि क्या है, right? Okay. Is Israel dealing some internal fight within Mossad and that caused this attack? Sri Harsha, the point is today there's a lot of internal political conflict in Israel. And this political conflict might have di- diverted the attention of the Israeli Defense Forces and Mossad away from this. And then, of course, you have to give it to the Hamas, who probably put up a very good deception front for all this. For this kind of a coordinated attack to take place, it's very important to know that they have planned it out. That is why इससे पहले जब मैंने शुरू किया था, वो एपी का रिपोर्ट जो 6 महीने पहले जो वेस्टर्न प्रेस से निकला था, वो एनालिसिस कि 1 साल से कुछ हो रहा है। एंड ये जो तीसरा अपराइजिंग के बारे में उन्होंने बात किया, ऐसी बात नहीं है, किसी को पता नहीं था कि कुछ होने वाला है। मेरे ख्याल में सबको पता था। मेरे ख्याल में इसराइल के अंदर ही कुछ गड़बड़ हुआ है जो इन्होंने नजरअंदाज कर दिया एक्चुअल रियलिटी को। और उसको भुगत रहे हैं अभी। क्या इजराइल करेगा बाद में, एयरफोर्स लगाएगा, टैंक लगाएगा, वो बात की बात है। वही चीज हमारे लिए भी ये सबक है, बड़ा सबक है, as to we cannot take our eyes off Pakistan or China. That's the thing. Okay, right. Okay. Uh, the way Hamas has used gliders is very dangerous. Is there a possibility of Pakistani jihadis could use? Definitely. We must be ready for it. We must be ready for it. We should have our air defense ready to shoot them down. Right? Most importantly, we should know that they have this capability from across. एक बार हम उनको हमें पता है कि उनके पास capability है, तो उसको निपट सकते हैं। इसमें क्या है कि Israelis could not even find out whether they had gliders and they had this plan. That's the point. Capability to keep the track of capability of the enemy is a very important thing. Okay. Uh, okay, let me ask you, Rishikaran Devjyoti. Internal disturbances have time and again brought down empires. Can we say the same complacency took Israel by surprise? यही तो मैंने जिक्र किया था. Political differences within Israel. अगर आप देखोगे, Netanyahu has been coming in and going out of power for in the past 3 years. Even now, he's the head of a far-right coalition. Now, this far-right coalition is going to be politically, they will not bargain with these people. And if you don't politically bargain, you don't come to a solution, then you only have military options left, which is bad. Which is bad for Israel, bad for Palestine, and bad for everything else. Right? This hard nature is useless. You can deal with terrorists. Please understand. There's a difference between the normal Palestinians and terrorists and militants. Hamas is a militant agency, right? There are suggestions which say you flatten Gaza Strip. You can't flatten Gaza Strip. It will be a holocaust. 2 मिलियन लोगों को आप मार नहीं सकते हो. 43 kilometers of territory, 43 by 10 kilometers को अगर आप खत्म कर दोगे तो जिंदगी भर you will be blamed. So there are major issues. It will be a human catastrophe, right? It doesn't matter the other things. Just to catch those 1,000 or 2,000 Hamas people. Okay. If enemy simply comes and start kidnapping, taking away women and isn't it the last moral barrier crossed by the enemy? What will be Israel? Israel has already started its response. I'm not for one moment going to say that it is not a moral thing. It's a pretty horrible thing which has happened. The Hamas has done something utterly horrible. Okay, you killed women, fine, soldiers, but you can't parade them subhuman. There will be reprisal. How the reprisal will be calibrated is to be seen. If Israel can calibrate the reprisal, then there is hope for a political settlement. If that doesn't happen, there's a problem. Yeah, this is what Srinivas Gopal says. Level of Gaza Strip using artillery, that's not the way forward. Unfortunately, it will be a human holocaust. Okay. Okay. Kanwaljit Singh, if the Israeli response against Hamas drags it into a protracted and bloody urban warfare in Gaza built up areas, what should Bharat do to safeguard the IMEC project? Okay, since you've taken the IMEC project, let me tell you. IMEC has two parts in this project, one the eastern half and the western half. The western half today is in danger. इसमें कोई नहीं, it's gone up in smoke. Let's ये से शुरू करते हैं. But the eastern half and the food corridor are still intact. So India, UAE, अरेबिया, सऊदी अरेबिया, ओमान, ये सब जो फूड कॉरिडोर में ऑलरेडी शामिल हैं, दैट स्टिल देयर. सो देयर इज समथिंग टू सैल्वेज and let's see how it goes. Okay, and that also depends on how we respond and how Saudi Arabia responds to the entire problem and how UAE responds to this problem. What will Iran do? What will Turkey do? And what will Pakistan do? Don't forget, Pakistan is a dirty actor in this whole game. अगर आप डॉन पढ़ोगे या बाकी पाकिस्तानी मीडिया देखोगे, वो ऑलरेडी चूं चूं कर रहे हैं. ओके, किसी ने बोला कि ये वो सुन्नी है, ये शिया है, वगैरह वगैरह, उससे कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता. एनीथिंग अगेंस्ट इसराइल, पाकिस्तान विल स्टैंड. So even the first two world wars started like this, and so there must be some game plan how to. We don't know. We mean, these things, whether it's the first world war, second world war, or are we entering the third world war? Are we already in the third world war? That's a question which we have to start examining. But that will depend on what will happen in the next 48, 72 hours and how this whole thing goes. If this thing configurates and Ukraine also something messy happens, and if China starts something there, then we are in trouble. Yeah. Why Agnivir is was not challenged by top ex-top bosses? Here you're looking at a person who has written about 8-9 articles about Agnivir, and I was vilified by almost everyone कि आप ऐसे कैसे बोल रहे हो. मैं आज बता रहा हूँ, दो चीज के बारे में मैं कल बात करूंगा. कल शाम को एक अपडेट होगा मेरा, और उसमें अग्निवीर एंड दिस इस संदर्भ में अग्निवीर एंड वुमेन इन कॉम्बैट फोर्सेस, ये दोनों प्रश्न खड़े होते हैं, और उसके बारे में हम बोलेंगे. क्योंकि इससे जो वहां होगा हमारे लिए क्या सीख है. व्हाट डू वी लर्न फ्रॉम दिस. कल भी मैंने बताया, आज भी बता रहा हूं, कल भी मैं दोबारा बताऊंगा. क्या हम अपना बहू बेटियों को कॉम्बैट फोर्सेस में डाल के इनको ऐसे नुमाइश में डाल रहे हैं क्या, उस खतरे में डाल रहे हैं. अगर एक एक हादसा भी ऐसे हो गया तो कल भारत जो है लड़ने के लिए तैयार होना चाहिए. दिस इज अ थिंग विच आई विल डिस्कस टुमारो. विल Israel use nuclear bomb? I don't think so. I don't think we have come to that level. Okay, we will, let me see. Okay, VS says war suits Iran, Russia, and China. With US busy with Ukraine and Israel wars, can China use the opportunity to invade Taiwan? I don't think so. China has got its own problems. Taiwan, if it might not be able to invade at this point of time, it doesn't have the capability. यही मैंने कल शुरू किया था कि चाइना का जो पावर है वो घट रहा है, उसका डेमोग्राफी के स्टार्ट शुरू किया था, ये बीच में आ गया. So I'll stop that. I will restart it after 3-4 days when this whole thing settles down. But difficult. Okay, JBJP. Why in our country one personality becomes so towering that entire population feel insufficient to question the leader? We did this with Gandhi, Nehru, Indira. No one could question, challenge them. Yeah, we're doing the same thing with Mr. Modi also. He's right. We have this problem. But I have stood up. Let me tell you, I have stood up. जहां मैंने सोचा कि गलत हो रहा है, मैं खड़ा होकर बोल चुका हूं. जहां सही है, मैं उनके पीछे खड़ा हूंगा. इसमें भी दो राय नहीं होना चाहिए. राइट. अग्निवीर मेरी तरफ से अभी भी गलत है, मैं खड़ा होकर बोला था. फाइनेंशियल एक्सप्रेस में 6 आर्टिकल मैंने लिखा. उस वक्त वैक्सीन के वक्त भी मैंने आर्टिकल लिखा था कि गवर्नमेंट सही नहीं कर रहा है. कोरोना के वक्त ये चीज, इट्स अ मैटर ऑफ अपना अपना दिल की बात है. सही बोलना के लिए दम भी चाहिए. Did Lieutenant General Chauhan command Assam Rifles? He was the DG Assam Rifles, right? Okay. So our Bangladesh border is not as vigilant as it should be. Why is it we have so many Bangladeshis infiltration? Is it true? It is true to some extent. It is not true to some extent. Okay. The Bangladesh border vigilance is at a lesser level for many reasons. Okay. And remember, Bangladesh is not a threat to us. It's not. It's not a threat to us. Okay. ये छोटा मोटा इन्फिल्ट्रेशन होता है, ये ह्यूमन इन्फिल्ट्रेशन है, इट इज नॉट मिलिट्री इन्फिल्ट्रेशन. Please understand. I mean, let me give you a small thing. Bangladesh has come to us by to IIT Madras. This is a fact. Come and please help us set up a technical institute in Bangladesh. We are responding. जो जब दो देश पढ़ाई के बारे में, एजुकेशन के बारे में बात करते हैं, when there's an education exchange between two nations, there's very little scope of any fighting. There might be differences. That's a different story. It's not like don't mix the two. Okay. Yeah, I have a feeling Israel will bounce back. No other option. Yeah, there's no other option, so they have to do some bounce. Let's see what bounce they do. Yeah, is it within the capabilities of the Israeli military to accurately identify and penalize every individual involved in an attack without resorting to indiscriminate bombing of civilian areas? No, it's not feasible. Sorry, no amount of technology will be able to do it. You have to put boots on ground, you have to get human intelligence. And if the very fact that has been disrupted at this point of time indicates that Israel might not be able to do it, they might have to go in for greater reprisals, which will elicit a humanitarian issue. That's the thing which is coming up. Okay. Regards, sir, we have seen the use of drones during city ops in Israel or the war in Russia, Ukraine. What can we do to counter drone usage during operation? You have to have counter drone systems. That's it. As simple as that. Okay, let me see what are the other questions. For the response of Saudi Arabia, it seems we can say goodbye to. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think this thing. The gruesome medieval nature of brutality of Hamas taking over women is so shocking. Yeah, I agree. There's a fact. There's no doubt. Is this a war due to the new trade route as per G7? No, it's not due to that. It is due to the fact, जैसे जनरल चौहान ने बताया, कल भी मैंने बताया कि ये वक्त आ रहा था, इजराइल और यूएई का समझौता हो गया था थ्रू I2U2. अभी इजराइल और सऊदी अरेबिया उस कतार पे पहुंचे थे कि इनका समझौता होने वाला था. अगर इनका समझौता हो जाता तो ये जो गाजा पट्टी में जो है, the Gaza problem and the Palestinian problems would have been consigned to history. Bas, finished. Or no matter what anything else happens. So Israel has preempted this by this action. One. Number two, sorry, not Israel, uh, Hamas has preempted this by acting against Israel. So now that is over. Now, by the way Hamas has reacted, and it's a very deeply planned reaction. कहीं भी जाओ ये पैलेस्टीन फ्लैग्स कनाडा में भी लहरा रहे हैं, पाकिस्तान में तो है ही, ठीक है, और जगह जगह पे ये पैलेस्टीन फ्लैग्स लहरा के सारे ये जितने बाकी देश के हैं खुश हो रहे हैं. So there is a support for Hamas. There is a support for the Palestine cause. The Palestine cause, which was going to the corner, is now come back center stage. So the whole dynamic of the Middle East and West Asia has changed. So we also have to see हमारा क्या reaction होगा. हमारा गवर्नमेंट ने बोला है कि ये जो we stand by Israel. We stand by Israel as far as the brutality of Hamas against Israelis are concerned. I have no doubt about it. But ये समस्या कैसे सुलझाना है is something we have to think. Right? So ये ऐसे इजी समस्या नहीं है कि इजराइल सब कुछ ठीक कर रहा है और पैलेस्टाइन सब कुछ ठीक नहीं कर रहा है। ये दोनों तरफ का खेल है। हालांकि इस केस में दोबारा मैं बता रहा हूँ, जो भी हमस ने किया वो सही नहीं है। Yeah, the three fronts that you talked about was earlier that too during Yom Kippur War. How did they tackle them? Yes, TV Sinha, very good question you asked. The three fronts which during the Yom Kippur War were from Syria, was from Egypt, and from Jordan. They were tackled militarily because they were clear military threats from across the nations. This is a hybrid threat, completely hybrid threat with a militant overtone. Okay, so how do you tackle it? It's a human threat, humanitarian threat, because your response has to be restrained in this case. And your response for Israel, unfortunately, cannot be restrained because they've lost that human intelligence. That's what is apparent. There's a hole in their intelligence system. If they can revive that hole, patch that hole, and Mossad gets the actual intelligence and does something, that's a different story. Okay. I'm, yeah, Pratyush, take my question paid through UPI money debit. Yeah, but what is the question you have? I don't know. You tell me a question. Pratyush, put your question. Don't bother about UPI and money and all. I'm not for money. That money which you give me is for for philanthropic purposes. किसी बच्चे को हम पढ़ाएंगे और कुछ नहीं, मेरे जेब में कुछ नहीं चाहता, मेरे को चाहिए भी नहीं पैसा. बट आप सवाल लिखो प्रत्युष, आई आंसर. Okay. Since morning, I have been watching various channels. This is by far the best discussion. Great. Thank you, Abe. I'll have this more. And please tell all your friends. Please. मैं ये सबको बताना चाहता हूँ. My discussions are open, honest, and clear, and based on research. So that's why I request all of you that through 329 people who are watching and more will watch this thing. Please subscribe to my channel. You will get absolutely no bias discussion. This is my request to all of you. Because I'm in the business of making India strong. No other business. अरे यार प्रत्युष, इतना सवाल पर लिया. What is your thing? How could Hamas get 3,000 to 500 terrorists? यही तो सवाल है. यही पूछने वाली बात है. अभी कैसे मैं बताऊंगा? जब इजरायलीज को नहीं पता था, हमें कैसा पता है कि कैसे लेके आए? ये निकल के आएगा अभी. डोंट वरी. Is this a war due to the new trade route? मैंने already, Arhant, I think I've answered this question earlier. You didn't have to pay 40 rupees for it, but still, thank you. Because that girl whose fees you're going to pay will be happy with it. Okay? I'm a, जब तक हमारे बच्चियों को हम पढ़ाएंगे नहीं, काबिल नहीं बनाएंगे, हमारा देश का उन्नति नहीं होगा. So whoever pays me, believe you me, this money is going there. Right? The new trade route, I'll reiterate, has two parts. One part will still go through with some problems. That's ये मेरा मानना है. No, Asim, I think we should look both sides. We are a big country. Don't worry. Okay. I think this will serve us as a reminder that no matter how much you invest in technology, human can never be. I agree with you completely. Why are you anti-Muslim? I have seen your comment yesterday. I'm not anti-Muslim. Sorry, I'm not anti-Muslim at all. I'm anti-militancy. I'm anti-terrorism. If Hamas has used such things, I'm against them completely. How can I be anti-Muslim? right? Uh, have I ever said so? I don't even support Hindutva. वो भी नहीं है मेरा. I am absolutely to the center. हम फौजी हैं भाई. I mean, just let me tell you, you know, 3 years, 4 years back when I conducted the reunion of the Regiment of Artillery, I started the reunion by going to a mandir, a masjid, a church, and a gurdwara. सबके लिए मैंने दुआ मांगा, सबके सामने हमने माथा टेका. So don't infer. ओके, ये हमारा फौज फौज का जो है ना रिवाज है. और फौज के अंदर वी डोंट हैव मंदिर मस्जिद एंड चर्च एंड ऑल. ओके, वी हैव सर्व धर्म स्थल. और सर्व धर्म स्थल में सारे धर्मों का को हम प्रार्थना करते हैं. अगर इतना अगर आपको समझ में नहीं आया तो आप कृपया इस चैनल में मत आइए. ओके, राइट. I have focused on counter-terrorism theory of India. We are focused on breaking the radicalism cycle, which is caused by collateral damage. We have dealt with this in Northeast and Kashmir. How will Israel do it? It's up to them. They have to find their ways. You see, counter-terrorism is situation-specific and area-specific, right? Uh, अगर इजराइल पर इन परिस्थितियों में काबू नहीं कर पाया तो यूएन सेना उतारेंगे ना. मेरे ख्याल में अभी वो नहीं है. ओके, राइट. रमन, let me say, good evening, General Sir. As you know, Iran is behind the Hamas, and if any action from Iran, will US jump into the fray? Possible if things go up. We don't know. Let's see. uh, Dismantling Hindutva. Indian army is not Pak army. I agree with you, Srinivasan. I'm not some of my, I've commanded Sikh troops, I've commanded Muslim troops, I've commanded Christian troops, I've commanded Hindu troops. Neil, come tomorrow and ask this question. Come tomorrow and ask this question. Okay. Hamas top brass sits in Qatar, which is a well-known CIA stooge state. Do you have any theory that exploits this angle? I really don't have. I mean, right? We'll see how things pan out. We'll see things how pan out. Vijay Kumar. Looking at the news from Israel, do we need to look to redeploy the women at front line? Yeah, we'll talk about it tomorrow. I'll talk about it tomorrow. Yesterday, कल भी मैंने बोला था. I'll tell it again. Palestine problem is dating back. Okay, this has been carrying on. Okay, fine. $1 million question. Let's see where it goes. Will the current situation escalate to war with other countries around? Could. Possible. Let's see. It's a very dicey situation. Ming Wu. China से आ रहे हैं. Iran and Saudi Arabia support Palestine and oppose Israel. How does India handle relation with Israel as well as its relations with Iran and Saudi Arabia? भाई साहब, आप जी जिनपिंग से पूछो ये सवाल. ठीक है, जी जिनपिंग बताएगा आपको कैसे करना है. हम अपने तरीके से करेंगे. बगर ऑफ. I am watching from Spain, so thank you, Ajay. I hope you found it useful. Sir, you had promised a video discussing the wars of Yom Kippur, and please do make them. Looking forward to watch it, sir. Look, I want to do a lot in life, but let me see where I can do. Events are overtaking me. Do you see any challenge for India similar to Israel? I don't visualize us getting into a problem like Israel, but intelligence failure we've had. Let's be very clear. We should know where we are. Kargil, we had a problem of intelligence. Galwan, we had a problem with intelligence. So intelligence failure is something we suffered. And then this issue of Agniveer and woman, which I'll talk tomorrow. कल यही दो है मेरा ये the सीख इसमें क्या है हमारे लिए, that I'll talk tomorrow. Do you see India getting anywhere near to the close capability of China in the near future? Not today. I'll talk of this at the right time. Yeah, I don't agree with you. For people in nation, one should not hesitate to kill 20 million. Good, go ahead. Go ahead. You'll be the worst nation on earth then. Ashok Agarwal, welcome. Thanks a lot for becoming a member. Honored to have you. Yeah, what should India's response be on this issue? At this point, I would say wait and watch. We have good equations with Israel. We have good equations with Saudi Arabia. We have good equations with Iran. We have good equations with Qatar. Not so good with Qatar, but we have good equations with say, UAE. We have good equations with mostly everyone except Pakistan and Turkey. We also had very good equations with PLO. Remember this. Yasser Arafat used to swear by India. So we have connections all round. Again, just like in Ukraine, we have the diplomatic bandwidth to leverage our way to get peace. That should be our response. And we should insist on Hamas being brought to justice. How we do it is how we can handle our diplomacy. We have a cutout task. And I keep saying, in every crisis, there's an opportunity. In this crisis, also, there's an opportunity. We should use it. Okay. Do you see Ashutosh Bhatt? Since you're paid for this, I'll answer this. As far as I'm concerned, to stop China, we have the capability. We have the capability to even defeat China. What has Hamas, this war, taught you? There's a war of unequals going on. Hamas has got no capability compared to Israel. We have, if you take India-China equation, our capabilities are near similar along the Himalayas. Don't worry about their missiles and all that. All that won't come in use in Himalayas beyond the point. Okay, our air force is better than theirs. So our capability to fight in the Himalayas is far more. The last time we hit them was in Yangtze. Galwan, we bet them in Kailash ranges. We outsmarted them capability-wise. Go back to 67, we defeated them in Sikkim. Go back to 1987 in Arunachal, again we put them in their place. I did a video on this. Have a look at it with General Sanjay Kulkarni. We have to have the confidence to handle this. That's why I'm telling you this. I wanted to do it as part of my China series. For all those who are watching, I've started a series on China. I've done the first. There are 6 more in that. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. We are the most secular institution of India, and I'm proud of it. Oh, thanks a lot, PS. Thanks a lot for all this thing. Is India ready for such a challenge? Definitely. There's no problem. Don't worry. How does an ace organization like Mohammed Mossad's Shin Bet idea fail to such an extent? Complacency. Pure complacency. Okay. Uh, Yasser Arafat used to call Indira Ji his dear sister, and India his sisterly nation of Palestine. We even used Palestine stance and stuff. I agree with you. In non-aligned meet, I've seen Yasser Arafat. I've met him actually. I've shaken hands with him. I was a captain those days. A very impressive man. Okay, he came. He even hugged Indira Gandhi ji at that time, and he stayed 3 days in Delhi and he didn't sleep. He met everyone in the non-aligned meet and went back. Later days, what happened, we don't know. This thing, but the Palestine Liberation Organization of that time, Mossad of this time, though alag, completely alag. ये टेररिस्ट है मोसाद, सॉरी नॉट मोसाद, सॉरी हमास, हमास और पीएलओ के बीच में बहुत अंतर है. Hamas is more a terrorist organization. It's a militant terrorist political organization. Yeah, that's what I said. How do we tackle it? We have the bandwidth to tackle it, Vijay. We can. Okay, in case of Pakistan disintegration, can we see similar intrusion from Pakistani border in Punjab or in Kashmir with support? I don't think so. I don't think Pakistan has that bandwidth at this point of time. Okay. What difference do you feel in the younger generation in comparison to your generation regarding war and love for nation? Zero. I think पिछले 5-10 साल में the love for the nation has increased. Okay. Uh, let me give you a small example. Op Vijay के time में we were mobilizing from the east to the north. Train में my regiment I had mobilized. I was a commanding officer. We were mobilizing to the north into Op Vijay, and we were going by train. एक बच्ची ने आके हमें खिला दिया. So I asked her, why are you giving this केला? उन्होंने बोला कि साहब मेरे पास यही है आप फौजियों को देने के लिए. Then I asked her, भाई तुम्हारे घर में क्या है? उनके घर I could see from the station, from the rail where the train had stopped. कुछ नहीं था. So I stopped the train. I had that authority to stop the train. I went to their house and I gave them rations for at least 1 week and came out. उनके पास खाने के लिए पैसा नहीं था, कुछ नहीं था, और ये बच्ची हमें केला दे रहा था, एक वो 14-15 केला. एंड इफ आई वाज भावुक हो गया था ना, उस दिन भावुक हो गया. ये हमारे देशवासी हमारे पीछे हैं. I mean, these are the experiences of a lifetime. Okay, we'll not. Raman will talk of French nuclear sub later. Um, it was, sir, at times I feel it's been my great honor to follow you since you started the channel. Yashash sir has started your videos with me, your shared, okay, with videos with me and highly recommended it. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I'm very happy. Okay. Adi Eddie 2. Why does Indira Gandhi called, yeah, Arafat brothers, even if, look, we have to be diplomacy. Diplomacy is taking everyone along, being good with everyone. Okay? That's the soft power of India. If we have 12 million Muslims or 20 million Muslims in India, that's our strength. How do we leverage them? If you have so many Sikhs in India, how do we leverage them? If you have so many Christians in India, how do we leverage them? There's no getting away from the fact that 80% of population in India is Hindu. So Hindus have to be confident of their Hinduism to take everyone along as Vasudeva Kutumbakam. That's a confident nation. Yeah, what about a complete blockade by Israelis economically? It would be a battle of attrition. Possible that might happen. Let's see how it goes. But that goes into a humanitarian situation. That's the problem. Yeah, it is nothing but pure Islamic jihad. Jihadis will not. Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. Okay, I agree कि ये jihad का कहानी है ये. Hamas and others. But you have to separate the jihadi thing from normal people and deal with it. Otherwise, we are going to have a humanitarian situation in the world. Hey, don't worry, Shaikaran. We are okay. We are getting there. Okay, I think I finished all the questions. If anyone has finished, feels he has left out another 5 minutes, I'll take. Repeat your question, right? One, we are already 1 hour 15 minutes into this, so it doesn't matter me much. But and I hope India wins against Australia. I did not change the score. Okay, is Bharat a key player in global future global economy and शोभन रावत मेरे ख्याल में आप पहले बार हमारा वीडियो देख रहे हो क्योंकि ये फ्यूचर ग्लोबल इकोनॉमी और मिलिट्री पावर के बारे में हमने 10 तकरीबन 15-20 वीडियो कर लिया है एंड सी द पावर मैट्रिक्स वीडियोस ओके ओके आई डोंट थिंक एनी वी हैव लेफ्ट एनीथिंग सो टुमारो वी आर oh butter chicken this is great 154-3 we are winning great India always wins I'm glad Virat Kohli and Rahul are doing well. Okay. Okay, that's great. 1590 balls is fantastic. Right. Now we've come to the end. Tomorrow we'll continue with this. We'll take an update. कि क्या हुआ, right? And I'll be alone. I'm not calling anyone else. I'll take an update. Shoot your questions. We will discuss Agniveers and we'll discuss women in combat. Right? And I'll give you my ideas. I'll give you my ideas and then we'll see what to do. Okay. Uh, that's it for tonight. Good night. Oh, my favorite music, Jai Ho. Okay. Jai Ho is my favorite music. Right. And, right. Okay. Okay. Thanks a lot. Good evening. I've enjoyed my show. I'm glad I brought Shokin Chauhan today. General Shokin Chauhan and I, just for the record, we commanded units together during Kargil operations, and he's a very dear friend of mine. And tomorrow he's going through a cataract operation. On behalf of all of you, I wish him the very best. I would request you, his handle is at Shokin Chauhan. Those of you who are on Twitter, please wish him the best for his operation tomorrow. Uh, we need such great people, right? Thanks a lot. Good evening. Jai Hind. Sat Sri Akal. Till tomorrow evening.